Yo, what's up guys? I really didn't want to make this video, but my recent games of Dead by Daylight have just absolutely forced me to make this video. And as you can see from the title, this is going to be about why Dead by Daylight is heavily survivor-sided, and the devs just do not care about killer mains. So first up, we're going to be talking about character perks for survivors. My first thought of character perks is that I do not like teachable perks, and for every single character that I own, I never use a teachable perk on a character that the teachable perk is not for mainly. So like, say if I was using Dwight and I had a Meg teachable perk, what I like to do is put on all of that survivor's perks. For this example, I would use all of Dwight's perks and then pick a perk that goes off of his theme. So like, what I mean by that is like, Dwight is the leader. He's supposed to be like the smart one in the group, and so whatever perk that represents like smartness, I put for that. So like, say for like the Leatherface, I have all of his perks on, and then I use something like Iron Grip or whatever it's called, because he looks like a strong person. And yeah, I would use something like that. Like for the Ghostface, he's a stocky killer, so obviously I would use something like Insidious or something that helps him be more stocky. But yeah, I don't care if you hate this whole perk idea, but back to what I was originally talking about, why I hate teachable perks. It's because people can put these on characters and just absolutely abuse that power. Yes, I mean, teachable perks sound like a good idea, but in reality, it's just a way for survivors to be more toxic, or toxic killers to just absolutely bully the hell out of new survivor players. Next, I would like to talk about the maps. Maps are very important, and to me, they're not as important because I don't realize or understand why people think certain maps are better than other maps. I mean, yes, I could see for some killers like the Ghostface, a darker map would be better, and if he got, say, like the Legions map, that would be very bad for him because he needs that cover. So I guess I understand that whole part, but trying to use the maps to have your perks do better, that's kind of dumb. I don't really understand that whole thing. So I think like that whole mindset of, oh, certain maps help out your characters better, yeah, they work for killers, but not for survivors. Yes, a darker map might help Claudette if you have a darker style on Claudette. And I'll talk about styles later on more. But yeah, I don't really think the whole map thing is true. I don't think that maps help survivors be better. And I don't think they really help killers to be better. Because if you hate a map because it makes you a bad killer, maybe you're just a bad killer in general, and instead of getting better, you're just gonna blame the map and the game instead of you just being a bad killer. That's what I hate about gamers. Gamers these days will blame the game and blame other killers instead of just looking at their flaws and saying, oh, I'm a bad player, I must practice to get better. But now I'm talking about cosmetics and why they are important and why they are also overpowered. For me, I like to use cosmetics based on how cool they look, and I know people use them to show how toxic they are and how much of a good player they are, and some people use them to have an advantage. Like, they might use darker clothes to hide better, or clothes to show off that they're a survive with friends. And I get it, having similar, like, if you have 4 people in a lobby and you all look alike and are wearing the same cosmetics, that might be cool. But the case with that, like, say I'm a killer in a match and then all of a sudden 4 Megs join, I think they need to eliminate that factor, because I feel like every match should have different survivors. Like, if there's already a Meg in the match, you can't just be another Meg, because seeing 4 Megs in a match, not talking about the whole perks or anything, but that just looks weird. Like, imagine killing someone in real life and, like, there's 4 of the same exact person. They're not related or anything. They're not like triplets or whatever, but they're just 4 of them or whatever. I feel like the whole aesthetic of the match would be better if Dead by Daylight banned the ability to have like 4 of the same survivor in a match. And I feel like that would honestly make the game better, because people would have to get better at using different survivors, and they would have to be forced to level up certain characters more, because they couldn't just main one survivor all the time if somebody else is already in a match with that survivor. Another thing is for survivors, the fact that there's so many toxic survivors, and Dead by Daylight, literally, the devs just blink an eye and ignore it. Dead by Daylight has had so many hacker reports and reports of killers being absolutely bullied by survivors. And so many people hate the Dead by Daylight game, and they will blame it like, oh, it's a bad game. They will blame the game because it's bad. But in reality, people don't hate the game. They hate the fan base. The fan base of Dead by Daylight is just so toxic and rude to each other that it literally makes the game unplayable. Like, why would you want to play a game where all you do is get bullied by other players and you cannot do anything about it because the devs just don't care? I've reported so many hackers and toxic people, and the devs have literally gave them no punishment. But if a killer camps, tunnels, teabags, acts toxic even a little bit, if the killer makes survivors disconnect, or pisses the survivors off, they will instantly get punishments, while their survivors get absolutely nothing. Dead by Daylight is so survivor-sided, which is why nobody likes the game and why people constantly shit on it. Maybe the game would be better if you devs actually did your job, like banning and giving punishments to these toxic survivors, because these toxic survivors are doing this because they can get away with it, and because they're not getting punishments. I guarantee you, if you started temporarily banning all of these toxic people, they would gradually stop being toxic, because after a few warning bans, you would have to permanently ban them. Because, that's just common sense. Why would you allow someone to constantly bully your fan base and draw less players toward your game? Yes, I believe the Dead by Daylight devs think they're doing good with adding more DLC killers and more cool styles to killers and survivors, but that's not helping the fact that there's so many toxic people on this game and they don't even care. They're basically putting cosmetic and new character style bandages over the wounds that are toxic survivors and camping killers, hoping that the wound will just heal on its own. No, Dead by Daylight devs, the wound will not heal if you just keep pushing blood points, iridescent shards in our faces, and new tomes, killers, and survivors. Why don't you actually be good devs and start giving punishments to these survivors and killers who are abusing the gameplay rules? I guarantee you that one of the rules literally says trolling or misbehavior like gameplay abuse, yet you can report every single toxic player on this game, and I guarantee you the devs won't even care. They'll only care when it literally becomes their problem. Like, so many players are experiencing this certain hacker, this one person. And even then, they would still give them like a temporary ban or something stupid like that. Only 3% of the entire fan base that are actually hackers and stuff like that get actually banned. And it is the reason why Dead by Daylight is such a bad game. Yes, I like Dead by Daylight because it is a fun game to me, and because I just play it for fun and not to be toxic and sweaty and not to try and be the best player out here. I play it just for fun. And that's the problem with gamers these days. They play these video games to try and be the very best player, when the whole point of a video game should be about fun and not trying to be the very best player and trying to bully those who are below you. I remember my first game on here, I was a Dwight and literally knew none of the controls because I didn't want to waste time an hour of learning and memorizing the controls, so I just winged it into the game, and I got absolutely shit on by a trapper or something, and I was just so confused because I've never played a video game where the fan base was just this rude and toxic to new players. But I ignored it, and over time I have gotten a lot better at the game. I still have to deal with constant bunny fangs and Nias and toxic survivors, but I just ignore that because I know that they have nothing better to do than to be toxic online, and I'm not going to let that bother me. Now, yes, I do believe that killers also can be toxic and mean and rude, but it's a lot worse with survivors than it is with killers. And I also believe that with killers being rude to survivors, they're only rude to survivors that genuinely deserve it, or to survivors that are just starting out the game. I believe that with killers will tend to see a survivor that isn't that good at the game, and then they will just tunnel them for the entire game and camp them on the hook. And when that survivor is on the hook, another thing that is annoying when I am a survivor is that the survivors will slowly walk over to you while you're on the hook, and the killer will be nearby, and the survivors will literally sit there for like an hour just watching you on the hook. And that really annoys me because they can do one of a few things. One, they can either run away and let you die, which would be better than just you on the hook watching the survivor there literally not do anything but crouch behind a rock or tree as the killer just stands there with a crown on his head thinking he's the king. Or that survivor can either run up to you, get hit once, the killer will obviously have to do their little animation, and in that time they could unhook you. And I don't know if this is still a thing or not, but Dead by Daylight used to have this thing where if you're unhooked, you have a little bit of it, like, where I don't know what the word is, but like the killer can't instantly down you. And I know that they have removed that multiple times and re-enabled it multiple times. I don't know why they did this. I think because they don't know how to run a video game properly. Not trying to be rude to the devs, but I mean, come on, you're devs. You should know how to make a video game fair and stuff without literally butchering every cool aspect of your game. And I do believe the ability to get unhooked and not instantly downed by the killer is very important, and I also believe it can also be abused. However, I do think it should be a thing in the game. Anyways, that survivor can get you down, or the survivor could try to hook you and the killer grabs that survivor and takes them to another hook. But while that killer is distracted, another survivor could walk over and unhook you. So yeah, there's a lot of factors of ways to get around toxic players. And yes, I have raged a lot over toxic players. But I mean, it's just life. You have to deal with the nice people and the jerks, no matter what. And it's not how you are bullied or whatever, it's how you deal with them. And I know Dead by Daylight is not going to change. It's always going to have toxic survivors and stuff like that. And I know the devs don't care because they've had all of these updates and all of this stuff. And the most they have done is fix bugs with the game, like certain objects are out of place or there's glitches when you're doing something. But do they care about toxic survivors? No. They don't say anything in the news, in-game, or I don't have their Twitter or whatever Instagram or social media they have, so I can't really talk about that. But in the Dead by Daylight news, they never talk about banning toxic survivors or players that abuse the rules in game. And I know I'm saying survivors a lot, but killers are very abusive with the rules too. And I don't want this video to be too long. I know the video is boring because I still haven't figured out how to make actual quality YouTube videos because I don't have the proper stuff. Like, I don't have my own house, so I have to make YouTube videos whenever my parents aren't around because I really don't want them finding out about my YouTube channel because that'll just be so embarrassing and they will absolutely watch every single video I'm ever going to make for them the rest of my life. And I don't need that. They found out about my old channel and that was very cringe. I posted like one fish video of the very first fish I ever had. He was like a red beta tetra fish. It was at my old house. Anyways, you don't care about this. But yeah, I don't have all of that YouTube making stuff. Plus, I literally only have 4 or 5 subscribers right now. And like, nobody watches my videos. And it's okay. It doesn't bother me. I'm just starting out as a YouTube channel. But yeah, I hope I figure out how to make actual YouTube videos. With like an intro, cutscenes, I don't know. Maybe a face cam when I get more subscribers. I don't know. But yeah, this video is just about why Dead by Daylight is so survivor-sided. And yeah, they're not going to do anything about that. Oh, before I go, another thing I wanted to talk about was the cosmetic styles of characters, specifically survivors. So if you haven't noticed yet, where have you been? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the Feng Ming styles. Yes, and the Meg styles, and maybe the Nia styles. I don't know how many she has, it hasn't counted, but I do know that Meg and Nia, not Nia, but Feng and Meg. Feng and Meg both have the most styles out of every character. And I don't know if this is a fact because I don't haven't counted every single character's cosmetic styles, but from what I have seen of like all the styles, I'm pretty sure Fang and Meg both have the most styles, and I don't like that. I feel like they're giving her and Meg way too many styles just because they're very popular characters. I feel like that's unfair to characters like Elodie Rakoto or Zarina Kazier and characters like that who nobody has even talked about. And like the twins, they have not gotten anything recently. Oh, but let's give Fang Ming and Meg 50 more styles on top of the million they already have. Like, can you see how that can be a problem? They already have way too many styles. And, I mean, if you haven't seen the Little Red Riding Hood style of her, I mean, I don't think it's accurate to the actual folklore. Like, look at that. She has black hair. She has this weird Christmas sock thing going on with her leg. Sorry the quality isn't good on my phone because that's the only camera I have to make videos on. But you can kind of see it. How, like, it's supposed to be like some modern Little Red Riding Hood. I'm not a fan of it. I feel like the Little Red Riding Hood style would be better on someone like Kate Denson, because they could have given Kate a more Little Red Riding Hood look with like a black skirt, maybe some long black socks, some brown wooden shoes, and like the classic Little Red Riding Hood cloak. And they could have even given her like a little basket to hold that does absolutely nothing, but it would still look better than this Fang Ming modern Christmas-like Little Red Riding Hood style. It just looks boring to me, and I don't really like it. I don't think Fang Ming fits the whole Little Red Riding Hood style, and yeah, I don't know why they did that to her, but I guarantee you that they're doing this to please I don't want to sound racist, and I'm not trying to sound racist, but a lot of the Dead by Daylight players are like Asian and Chinese and Korean and stuff like that, because that's like really popular over there, I heard. And so I feel like they're doing this only to please them. And I think that's why they give her so many styles, on top of her just being a popular character that people use mostly to be toxic. But they do this to please them, because, I mean, if you have a country or a region of your fan base that is mainly the players, why wouldn't you want them to be happy with your game and play it? You want to give them stuff constantly so they keep playing it. So I understand why they might be doing it to please them and to make sure that those types of players keep playing the game. But I feel like it's also unfair to characters who literally have only styles that change the original color of their original style. Kind of like the twins, how they only have like a few other styles, and all those styles are ugly, except for the ones where they have like the black mourning dress and the blue mourning dress with the coffins on the back. I think those two are the only good styles out of the entire twin styles, and then the rest are like style color variations of the original style, and I don't really like those types of styles. I feel like those are boring. But I mean, they're okay on certain survivors like Felix, and yeah, that's about it. But that's just my personal opinion. I know that people like to mix and mismatch styles, which is something I don't really like to do, because I find it weird when you'll see, like, take Jake, for example, they'll have the Vigos Marauder shirt on, and then, like, some black cargo pants on it, and then, like, the ugliest Jake Park head you can possibly find. Like, what? Why would you do that? Just leave it as the original style. Sure, the original style might be ugly to you, but at least it looks better than whatever combo you're trying to make. But yeah, that's just my opinion on Dead by Daylight. I'm going to make more Dead by Daylight videos in the future about my opinions on killers and stuff like that. If you want to see more, like and subscribe. If you want specific video ideas, subscribe, comment, and like. That would make me very happy. I cannot stream videos, I don't think, because I don't have enough I do not have enough subscribers to stream, and I haven't really figured out how to record gameplay yet. Plus on my PlayStation I can't do that yet. But once I figure that out, I will let you know. But yeah, comment what you thought, what you liked about this video, what you didn't like, and yeah, I'll make new videos every day. I try to. They'll just be about random stuff I find funny or my thoughts on different topics. But yeah, that's me talking about and ranting about why Dead by Daylight is Survivor Sided.